Hey guys, it's the WalterFootball.com After Dark show for December 8th, 2024. We're going to be doing our final thoughts here on the WalterFootball.com After Dark show for the Week 14 NFL picks against the spread for the 2024 NFL season, and also going to be talking about some props and the usual nonsense that we get into on Saturday night. Before we intro our co-hosts, please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video. Visit the link in the description for the merch store. As you can see, I am wearing a August is Gluttony shirt, which my son is like, Daddy, that's you. He's like, but Daddy, you don't have blue hair. So he finally
Not
admitted
yet,
that
you don't.
right. That's true. That's true. I can always dye my hair blue. So yeah, you can get an August is Gluttony shirt here. As you can see, I know it's not August, but still, it's always nice to have one of these. Plus, all these are 25% off. We had a 30% off sale recently, but 25% off, still pretty good. I need to get the Squirrel Lives Matter back. They deleted that shirt. Plus, I'm gonna have some Hunter Biden stuff too, just kind of brainstorming as well. So look out for some new stuff. You can go to Amazon, buy my books. Jerks of the College Years is the most recent book where I made fun of people I saw at Penn State. I was there for 6 years, so as you can imagine, or as you can see on the cover, I ran into a lot of weird people. Also, I wrote a book called How the 2020 MVP Was Stolen, which is how Brett Favre tried to sabotage Aaron Rodgers when Rodgers won the MVP. So you can read that expose that I wrote, and you can buy it on Amazon, or you can help with super chats, super stickers. That's the best way to do it. And I say this all the time: like YouTube ads pay nothing, like really nothing, like less than $1 per show. So it's pretty rough here if we don't get any super chats, super stickers. And you guys have been so great with your contributions. Slew, John Sanders, Dro for show, Jesse Cintron, Kimmy Eagle. You guys have been so great recently. And so, yeah, any further help would be really appreciated. It would really help the show keep going. So, all right, we are joined by Quacky. Tom, how's it going? How's your week 13?
Walt, here we are again. Hello to you and hello to the Walter football family. I'll tell you what, I think we're starting to heat up. Walter, I know you went 5-0 on your super contest card last week. Congratulations. We went 5-0 on our joint entry in the super contest. We've only lost two games in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, we've been
So
on fire. Yeah.
And I know I said Jacksonville money line, but I also said Jacksonville spread. I think I deserve the crown for last week. I mean, we went 10-0. Well, I guess some of our picks were doubles, but
No, it counts as two.
let's just hope we can keep it going.
Well, if we agree on a pick, you can double it, and I guess it still counts. Right? Like 10 units, you should say. 10,
exactly.
by the way, I mean, I know that Oregon, Penn State is on, but I thought that like by the time this game's over, it'll be like midnight and it'll be too late to start the show. So I know that Oregon almost fumbled. Oregon recovered, so hopefully they hang on. We have Oregon -3. We also have Clemson to cover as well. So be nice to finish with another 4-1. Pollyanna is saying 6 years at Penn State, you needed 6 years of you need to run a football website. No, and that's like that is like a proof that college is pretty pointless. I did get some stuff out of it. I had a couple of great journalism professors, and Mike Poorman, who teaches sports journalism. I had Bill Reed, who's intro to journalism. Those two guys really helped me write. But I did, for the most part, I don't want to say I don't want to say like I wasted 6 years there, because I like grew as a person and stuff like that. I was a much different person coming out of Penn State than I was going in. That's like where I grew up basically. But I mean, money wise, it was kind of a waste. I had like 3 great classes and that was it. But I went into Penn State as a computer science major. And that I was really interested in that stuff. I took a couple classes in high school on it, like 3 classes. I was pretty good. I was like the best coder in the class, and I was something I was really interested in. And little by little, I just got I hated it more and more. And then in my senior year, spring semester, my senior year, I changed my major to journalism because I did this website. And I always loved doing it. And I was like, man, I wish I could do it full time. So my goal was to, get a journalism degree and use my website on my resume to get a job in a newspaper covering an NFL team. But I got an ad offer in 2007 to run my website full time. So I never never needed to put that on my resume. So it's
When's
weird.
the last time you made a resume? Like updated your resume? Your
It's,
curriculum vitae. Give me an update. Can you send me an updated curriculum vitae, Walter,
I,
please?
I don't even know if I have one on my computer. It's
Um,
2000. It was 2007. I worked at Mid Atlantic Mortgage, which was defunct
yeah.
in like mid 2008. I wrote about it in the book. It's like the two guys running the company were bozos basically. This one guy like would tell me exactly what to do and I follow to a T, and then he'd yell at me for it. And then the other guy was like some old guy in the back, like smashing the keyboard. And like he called me back, and it was like I can't get this to work. He had like 50 Internet Explorer windows open, and he's like, look, I keep clicking. He's like, click, 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 click. I'm like, dude, you only have to click like twice. And so like that was the extent of my interactions with my bosses, who were just they're miserable. And not a surprise that the company folded. They let me go in February of 07. And then I think within a year they were out of business. So
Wow.
yeah, well, I mean, I want to say don't take that to
Yeah.
mean I was like the key to the company or anything.
No, I think that's what happened. That's exactly what happened, actually.
Yeah, no, I was the best. My zero sales led
Yeah,
actually led the company. I'm not
yeah.
joking. We had zero sales, and I was tied for the lead. So
Hey,
um,
nobody's completely useless. You can always serve as a bad example.
yeah, no, I mean seriously. No, but like it was because my boss would tell me to do stuff, and then he'd yell at me for it. But no,
Yeah,
the main issue was that it was a rough time in the housing market, and like
yeah.
what the worst part was, I would like basically what I would be doing was I'd be like I was called a loan officer, and so people would call me up and they'd give me their info, like including credit score and stuff, and so I would submit it to the company, and then they would get back to me and saying, hey, these people can get a mortgage, or no, these people can't, and like it was all no's, like every single time, and like. It was good people too. It was like this one guy was a fireman. His wife was a teacher. They sounded great. Like they sound like great people on the phone. Their credit scores like were in the low 500s, and it was just like I felt bad, just be like I had to be the one to tell them that
Right,
like you can't
yeah.
get a mortgage, like, and then now I was the bad guy, like because they don't know who I am, like they're just some guy on the phone telling
Yeah,
you that you can't get a
yeah.
mortgage. It's a horrible job.
I was
So yeah, just it was yeah. So like everyone who applied was like had a terrible score.
uh,
But then like the people who could get a mortgage, like we couldn't give them a good rate because no one was getting a good rate anyway by then. So yeah,
mhm.
I didn't sell any mortgages because it was impossible.
Sounds like you were really blossoming there.
Yeah, I know.
See, that's horror. That's sounds really horrible to me. What you experienced there? I had some similar experiences. I was a desk adjuster for an a major auto insurance company,
Hmm.
and I did everything but go to the shop. So like I had to take recorded statements from everyone involved in the accident and make the liability decision, and then call them up and be like, "Hey, guess what? Like you're at fault." And guess what, like you're not at fault, like set them up for repairs and all that, but like, so you can imagine, like I got cursed out like all the time,
Oh yeah,
like especially like especially like there's it actually didn't happen as often as you might think, but like some people, like they're convinced they're not at fault, and then like you have to, like I would have to give, like one time I gave like a guy a 30-minute lesson in physics.
really?
Yeah, as to like
How
why,
bad?
like his he's like, no, like he came this way, and I was like, well, then why did you end up like farther that way? How could that have
Yeah,
happened if you hit him that way? And he was like, it was, but it was definitely like very character building for me. I would say I'm very grateful that I had that. I wouldn't want to do it anymore. I mean, I haven't done it for a while, but it was a good experience though. It,
nice
it,
use.
it definitely gave me thicker skin.
Nice use of farther instead of further. So that was good too.
Oh,
I
oh,
appreciate that.
thank you. Maybe that was just dumb luck.
Was it
Dumb,
was it was it luck?
stupid,
Was it luck?
clueless, doodah luck.
Was it luck, or did you just? Or
No,
did you,
I care. I don't farther. Yeah, I know.
yeah, but most people don't know that. But
Yeah,
anyway,
let's get,
that is something else that I got out of Penn State was good grammar here.
yeah,
So
yeah. Oh yeah,
no,
and
no,
then we met. Yeah, so
oh, of course, of course.
yeah,
How can I
20 years.
forget? Like,
Yeah,
yep.
20 years.
If I didn't go to Penn State, I would have never met Tom because
Yeah,
you live
exactly.
right next door to me in my fifth year.
Yeah,
So
it's,
yeah,
it's,
no,
it's crazy how life works out that way. Just like some like rando. I'm just like some rando dude that lived next door to you, and we're still 20 years later. Love it, man. It's a great time. So
Yeah, and look, I think people approach college the wrong way. Like most people think that the degree is the most important thing, and like, yeah, I mean, obviously, if you're going to become a lawyer or a doctor or whatever, like you need the degree to go to the additional school. But as far as like if you're getting like a regular job, like you don't need the degree. What is key for college, and most people miss this, is like the connections that you make, with friends and groups and even your professors, like talking to your professors and showing interest, like they will be so glad to help you. Like for the, like obviously there's some exceptions, but like if you go to your professor and be like, hey, I'm really interested in this. Like, can you help me like improve, or like I want to get a job in this field. Like a classic example is like I had a magazine writing class, and this Professor Monk, she's like this tiny lady. She didn't like me at first because I was always late to her class. Like I'm always habitually late anyway, but like it was a weird schedule where I only had like 20 minutes to eat because in between classes or something, and I was always like 10 minutes late, and I feel like she just hated me for it. But like legitimately, like I actually wanted to apply to this magazine. And so I actually went to her after class and I told her, I'm like, hey, I want to apply to this magazine. Like if I submit this application, like could you look at it and like help me improve it? And like she was so happy that I like sought her help, that like by the end of the semester, like she loved me. So like it's something that people don't take advantage of, just like all the opportunities you have to make connections in college. Like that's the most important thing, I think.
you don't think Professor Dottie liked you? Who wouldn't like you, princess?
I was no, I like I feel like like they professors like they grew. I know they grew to like me, but they hated me at first because I was always late. Like to my journalism ethics class, I was like 20 minutes late all the time, and this is because like it was just so boring. I just didn't want to come on time. But like my friend Agad, we're just
your friend Egghead. What was his name?
Egghead, Angad, yeah.
Oh.
He actually wrote some NHL picks for the site a long time ago.
Oh, really?
We were talking like one day after class. He's like, Walt, you're the coolest person. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, dude, you just strut in the class 20 minutes late all the time, just looking nonchalant. He's like, man, I wish I could do that. I was like, I never even thought of it that way. I just like, I
really?
don't want to be here the whole time.
Yeah, no, I did that with some classes too. No, that's pretty hilarious actually.
Yeah.
But
and
I guess
party's brains out, of course.
Of course. Who didn't?
I used to go out 4 nights a week. Because I made it so all my classes were on Tuesday and Thursday. So I would go out I'd go out Tuesday night after class, Thursday night after class, then Friday and Saturday night. It was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, those were that was my heyday as well.
Yeah, so. I mean, now I couldn't imagine doing that, but it's a different life. 20 years later. All right, let's get into these picks.
Let's get to it before the people get unruly.
Well, Oregon's driving. They have first and goal, so hopefully they get in. As you can tell, we are great Penn State fans here. I couldn't care less. I just want to win this bet.
I hope they lose.
Yeah,
I can't stand them.
They got to lose by more than 3. I always say, people always ask me like, "What's your favorite team?" And I always say the team I'm betting on. That's my team. That's my favorite team. All right. So speaking of betting, we have Falcons at the Vikings. The Vikings are favored by 6. Oregon's scored a touchdown. So this spread has been climbing steadily. It opened like 4.5 or 5. It's gotten to 6. I'm not a big fan of this game. I think Minnesota, you can make a case for Atlanta because Minnesota has been very flimsy ever since Darrisaw got hurt, which is weird to say. Like, I'm sure Vikings fans will be like, what are you talking about? Because they're 5-0 ever since that Rams loss on Thursday night. So they, again, like 5-0 in full games since Darrisaw got hurt. But they've beaten some bad or mediocre teams by like not too big of margins. Like their biggest win was a 10-point victory at Tennessee. Like otherwise, they were very close to the Colts with Flacco. They beat the Jaguars by 5. The Bears took them to overtime. And Arizona was winning 19-6 before they collapsed last week. So yeah, you can take Atlanta here. But Kirk Cousins just doesn't seem right to me. I don't know if I want to bet him right now. He's just awful. This Falcons team has been getting blown out. I know they didn't get blown out against the Chargers, but like 38-6 against Denver, that was just brutal. So I'm still leaning toward Atlanta. As far as player props are concerned, I like Kyle Pitts over 33.5 receiving yards. He basically did nothing last week. I think he only got like 2 targets. But Minnesota is very weak to tight ends, and 33.5 is pretty low. And I feel like with Cousins struggling, they might want to just try to attack like the intermediate part of the field and get Pitts involved. And usually, like when Atlanta has the best offensive performances, is when Pitts gets off. So I goes off, I should say, not gets off. Goes off. Maybe he gets off too. Who knows? We talked about fluffers last week, so. Anyway, whether he goes off or gets off, I like Pitts. I like Pitts here over 33.5 receiving yards. I know you have a stronger opinion on this game though. So what do you think about this one?
Yeah, I like the Falcons a pretty good bit. You know, some people want to bring up the Kirk Cousins revenge angle. Well, you know, that revenge term is quite relative, I think. But here's what I'll say. It's at worst neutral. It can only help. I mean, he's out of any road venue, Kirk Cousins is going to be most comfortable there in Minnesota. So I would say at worst, it's neutral. It could only benefit. So I think that's a slice of the pie here. But look, the Falcons have looked really bad lately, but they have had, you know, they look good pretty early in the season. I know they lost that game to Pittsburgh, but they didn't give up a touchdown at all. They beat the Eagles. They could have beaten the Chiefs. They beat the Bucks twice. I'm a little higher on the Bucks than you are this season, I think. But you know, I think the Bucks are underrated. They beat them twice, and just because they've looked bad lately, you know, they were still in that game against the Chargers. Despite how many interceptions does Cousins have? Was it 4?
Yeah, he had 4. I mean, one was in desperation mode at the end. So, I mean, like really 3, but they were all bad. The 3 ones are bad.
Yeah, I think this game stays close. I like the Falcons a good bit. And never forget the 1998 NFC Championship game. When the Falcons beat the Morton and Gary Anderson when they went into Minnesota and beat the Vikings. I predict a similar outcome here. Give me the Falcons.
Do you think they're gonna have Morton Anderson and Gary Anderson like honor them at halftime, like trot them out, and like what if this game goes overtime? They're like, let's have a kicking contest.
Yeah, no, they should at least do it as the halftime show.
No, yeah.
You know what I mean? Or like a pregame, like, oh man,
Gary Anderson will still be wide right.
Oh my god, if I was Gary Anderson, you'd have to pay me a whole lot to agree to that. I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, at some point you have to. You just have to wear it like a like a badge. Like what was the quote that Tyrion said? Like where is the badge of honor? Like they can never say anything to you. That he said to Jon Snow in the premiere.
Yeah, yeah. No, you know that 98 Vikings team, that was the best team I've ever seen in my lifetime, and they didn't win the Super Bowl that year, of course, because then the Falcons went on to play the Broncos. That was Elway's last year, and the Broncos won 34-19.
That would have been a great Super Bowl, Denver versus Minnesota. I don't know who would have won, but I mean that would have been a close game.
God, I love that Minnesota team.
Unlike Denver, Atlanta, Chris Chandler.
Yeah, I know. I remember, like, if you who was the running back? Jamal Anderson.
Jamal Anderson, yeah.
Yeah, that was like the only big name. And like, I remember looking. If you look at that Falcons roster, I just remember I was like, who? Like, who do they have?
Yeah, that was a weird. They went 14-2. Like,
yeah, I know. It was wild. So
they had a good defense.
Yeah, on paper they didn't look like they could be 14-2, but hey, here we are.
Yeah, definitely.
But
speaking of Atlanta running backs, Algier over 5.5 rushing attempts at plus money, good value. He's gotten this in 4 of the last 5 games. I think it. I mean, Minnesota's such a pass funnel defense that I would be worried about it. Plus, like they're in such a losing streak here that they may just want to concentrate on Bijan. So I'm not like very bullish on this one. I'm not saying it can't lose or it can't win. I think I would take the under if I had to, but I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on this one? I really don't have a strong take on this.
Nothing other than if it's hit 4 of the last 5 games and it's getting plus money value, that seems a little too easy to me. But I don't really. I feel like I can never predict when Algier, sometimes every now and then, because he's usually very cheap on fantasy. Am I right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He'll have a decent game, and I feel like I could never predict when that is. So stick with what Walt has to say there.
This is the week of the backup running backs because Breece Hall is out, so Braylon Allen's going to start. Kenneth Walker got ruled out today, so Zach Charbonnet is going to start. And who knows? Maybe Bijan goes down. It's going to be Algier. I'm like ecstatic about this because in like all my best ball drafts, like rounds 13 through 18, all I did was draft backup running backs. Like, and Charbonnet and Braylon Allen were like two of the highest owned. So I'm pretty happy about that. So we'll see. I mean, it might end up like doing nothing. So if they suck, and then I'll be looking foolish, but still.
Charbonnet sounds like Chardonnay and Sherbert. Like it's like it should. Why don't they call it like nickname him like Spiked Punch or something?
Spiked Punch.
Charbonnet. Anyhow, let's move on before the fans revolt on us here.
Well, journalism ethics.
Yeah, they don't teach that one anymore.
They probably still do. It's just like, like
I'm sure like, they do. But
if you paid attention to anything, like how do you take this class seriously? Of course, like this is the class I showed up 20 minutes late to every day. I can't tell you a single thing I learned there outside of you can't take if you're covering something, you can't take money from people, like even a gift or anything, Even like even my professors, like even if you take like a drink, if they offer you like a soda or something, you're supposed to say no.
Wow.
Yeah, because like then you feel like you owe them something, and then you may not cover them fairly. But that means that journalists cover people fairly, which, as we know, is not true. So I don't know. I think this actually reminds me of Billy Madison, where at the end they're doing business ethics, and the one guy that can't answer the question. It's like, I feel like no journalist could answer any questions on this test that we had in these classes. So
yeah, I don't know, man. I'd like to see what it's comprised of now. What do we got here?
Yeah, 3 legs, 8 leg parlay to win $20K. Unfortunately, Penn State money line is one of those legs. Still, Pop Smurf, sorry to hear that. Well, I mean, they can still win, but time's ticking. Less than 5 minutes left. I had Oregon -3, so I will not. Unfortunately, I will not be rooting you on. I would love for you to win $20K. Just maybe on a different parlay.
Why don't you just say you'll root for him if Stone Papa Smurf will pay you like $500?
I just start rooting.
Yeah. Like we might not still come through, but it's like, hey man, I was cheering for you, and like if you do win, that way, like you can say you helped.
If it makes up for my bet.
Yeah.
All right, fine. I'll root for Penn State. Let's go. Let's get some folks. Let's go.
Thanks for being here, Stone Papa Smurf. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah. Any Aaron Jones anytime touchdown? It depends what the number is. I don't know what the number is. We could probably look it up, but what are your as I look as as a Packer fan, you used to root for Aaron Jones. What are your thoughts?
Oh, I'm a huge Aaron Jones fan. I mean, I'd like to see what it is. I mean,
it is minus
150 or something, like
minus 145.
I really didn't have it in front of me either. Not bad. I guess that's not that great of a selection. That's probably pretty common for running backs that are used like him. So that's not that great of a job by me, but I'll take the credit where I can get it.
If you can get like a prop boost and get this to like plus money, then I wouldn't mind it. But like minus 145 doesn't seem great. Like I think he's more likely to score than not, but I mean that's what this big is giving you. So I think it's fairly priced. I don't really see like an advantage there. Just anytime fumble. That's true. All he's been doing is fumbling. So that's actually something to watch out for. If he fumbles one more time or maybe 2 more times, like that might be it for him. Which Evan said this. I agree. I don't understand why you would bench a player for fumbling. It seems so random. Like, why not coach up that player instead? Remember Tom Coughlin fixed Tiki Barber's fumbling problem? It's like if the player's fumbling, like why don't you coach him up and make sure he doesn't fumble? Like that would be my response.
Mm-hmm. No, I think so too. But
yeah, these coaches, I don't know. Anyway, let's get to speaking of Tiki Barber former team, Saints at the Giants. This line is nice segue there.
Saints, it was good.
Saints are minus 4.5 or 5, depending where you look. Usually, like 5s mostly across the board. Actually, some 5.5s as well. But there's like a 4.5 at South Point, so it's kind of weird. Not that like 5 is the key number or anything. So your first inclination is I talked to Aton from Oz Shopper. earlier today, because we also have a joint super contest entry, and like he brought up that he liked the Saints, but he's like, man, I don't know if I could lay points with Derek Carr on the road. I'm like, yeah, I understand that Derek Carr. His stats as a road favorite is bad here. As you can see here, 7-15 against the spread as a road favorite, 10-20 against the spread as a favorite of 3.5 or more. So you might be like, man, how do you bet the Saints here? And I can tell you, it's because they're playing the Giants, and the Giants are I think they've quit. They benched their best quarterback, which enraged the players, and then they cut that quarterback. And so they had a complete no-show against Tampa, and then against Dallas on Thanksgiving, they played very poorly. It's like what do they have to play for here? Like, what's the motivation here against the Saints? And they are so banged up too. They have cluster injuries at offensive tackle. Looks like they're going to be down their top 3 tackles. They're going to be down all 4 defensive tackles, I think. Like 3 definitely, and maybe 4. And I was looking at the roster, like they only have 4 defensive tackles on the roster. So I was like, they're not going to have any defensive tackles. Like what is? Like, how are they going to function as a team? I guess they're just going to call a bunch of people up from the practice squad. But and then Andrew Phillips, their top corner, is also questionable. He was looking pretty iffy to play. If he's out, then they have 2 injuries at corner as well. Plus, they have and then Malik Neighbors was downgraded to DNP on Friday, so he may not play. This team is already bad, and now they're a mess. Just looking at their defensive tackles, Dexter Lawrence, Nunez, Roaches, and DJ Davidson are all out, and the other guy's questionable. Oh, Bobby Okereke, Okereke, I guess to pronounce it. Their top linebacker is also out. This team is awful, and they're going to be even worse because they have so many injuries. So I like the Saints here, just fading the worst team in the NFL, which is the Giants. So I think it looks pretty good with these injuries. So what do you think about this game?
Yeah, I agree. Giants are coming off a long week and a better performance against Dallas than they had against Tampa Bay in the previous week. But I really think I think back to the first 2 weeks of the season, Walt, when we saw these Saints beat up on Carolina and then they beat up on Dallas. 2 teams that I think are certainly better than this Giants team. I feel like this game could go a lot like that one. So give me the Saints here. I like them a good bit.
Something else about the Saints is that they're getting their 2 interior linemen back from injury. They were missing Eric McCoy and Cesar Ruiz last week. And Eric McCoy is the big one. Like Cesar Ruiz is okay. Eric McCoy is one of the best centers in the NFL. And like he was out. That was a huge deal. So he's back. And so this is a Saints team that demolished the Browns. Remember, it was like 35-14. It's not too long ago. And when they're healthy, they are better. I know they have their injuries too. Like the receivers, Taysom Hill. They still have Alvin Kamara, though, and I love Alvin Kamara over rushing yards. That's my prop for this game.
I've got a prop for you. Bet Kool-Aid McKinstry anytime touchdown. I bet it's like 50-1. Come on, the Giants are terrible. What if? Oh, can you imagine if that hits? I'm gonna put like it's got to be at least 50-1. Kool-Aid McKinstry.
So here's the thing, like you love these meme players with weird names, like Storm Duck. Well, like Kool-Aid McKinstry's actually like a real good player.
I know, but I'm just saying. But like to pick, if your book offers it, like you can always do special teams or defensive touchdown. But if you pick like the player, the defensive player that scores, it's first of all you need to get a defensive touchdown, like be the defender that scores that touchdown. A lot of times they're like 50-1. Mm-hmm. So what if McKinstry cashed one, man? You'd be getting at least 50-1.
Do books offer touchdowns for individual defensive players? Like I feel like I've never seen
on
that.
Hard Rock they do, yeah.
On Hard Rock. Okay, I don't have an account on Hard Rock. Okay,
right.
Fair enough. Because if you look up FanDuel, it just says Saints defense is 6-1.
Mm-hmm.
Which
so maybe not every book has it, but maybe I'll see if McKinstry's on there, dude. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, Penn State just scored a touchdown. We'll see if they go for 2 to make it 7 as opposed to 8 right now. I assume they'll go to kick the extra point. Someone pops over and said, you've been targeting slot receivers versus the Saints. Wandale tomorrow. Yeah, I think so. The problem with Wandale is that like he has no upside. Like this might be his best game though, and he's only 4,600. So yeah, you can play him. I think he might be in my lineup. I'm not like crazy about the play. Although they flopped last week with Cooper Kupp. I have no idea what happened to that. We'll get to the Rams, but they were a huge disappointment offensively last week. So maybe a precursor to one of our plays here. All right. So our next game is Jaguars at the Titans. This line is the Titans minus 3.5. I was so shocked that Andy Isco on Thursday, the great Andy Isco, just a professional gambler for 30 plus years. I thought for sure he was going to be in Jacksonville because he to quote him, he said, "Whenever garbage plays garbage, take garbage plus the points." But he was on Tennessee, and he liked Tennessee's run defense, or not Tennessee's defense overall as a just as a unit. I'm not as high on it, especially with these injuries. Tavondre Sweat and Roger McCreary, neither of them practiced all week. Now they might. It looks like they're getting Chidobe Awuzie back, which is a big deal. But not having Sweat makes the run defense so much worse. And if the Jaguars go with Bigsby, they should be able to run the ball a little bit. If Sweat's out, McCreary is the slot receiver, so maybe Parker Washington has another good game. But really, I really don't care enough about anything here to bet it outside of Tony Pollard over rushing yards. Jacksonville's run defense is awful. We actually bet the alt over rushing yards and Joe Mixon last week, and it hit at 2-1. His rushing total, I think, was 78.5, and for 100 plus rushing yards is 2-1, and he got there on the last play, which is pretty sweet. Nice. Pollard over 68.5, I like a lot. So, what are your thoughts on this game?
Well, I'm not going to touch it because this could really be a garbage game. Mm-hmm. But I really like Jacksonville in a way. I mean, they've been covering a lot of games. I can't believe. I mean, we had them on our card last week, and I can't believe they covered, especially once Lawrence went out with Mac Jones. I was like, and they're down. What were they down 20-6 at one point? Or no, they were down 23-6, right? Mm-hmm. And they still came back and covered. That was awesome, and that was my pick of the week. So they seem a little too easy here. Is the only thing for me. I'm not going to touch it anyway. I don't like betting Tennessee to win by 4 or more here. I will stay far away from this one, but Godspeed on Jacksonville.
Yeah, I would recommend not betting this game.
Hey, what's up, Mr. Magic? Yo.
All right, let's get to the next game. We have Raiders at the Buccaneers. You want to announce what this is? It's the Battle of the Pirates.
Oh, I didn't even think about it. Oh my God, you gotta bet the Battle of the Pirates every time you have the pirate battles. Oh, the Vikings count? Nah, that's not quite pirates. Well, I mean,
they're seafaring hooligans.
Did you say seafaring hooligans?
Yeah, that's what Buccaneers and Raiders
pillagers. Yeah,
the Vikings. And according to 23andMe or whatever, one of those, I am 10% Viking. So, which is not very pleasant to think about because the Vikings did not bring flowers on their trips to Ukraine, which is where my parents are from. So I don't know. I like to think that there was a rare exception where they fell in love and they went on picnics and they had their honeymoon in Disney World or something. And
exactly that could have been it. I don't know. You ever see those crackers? It's called Pirates Booty. They're like white cheddar crackers. Pirates Booty. Could you imagine you're a pirate and you're sailing across the seas and you finally hit land and you find the treasure chest and it's full of freaking crackers? I'd die right there. Man. Because think about a pirate ship, man. This is like no Caribbean cruise.
No,
they're not getting ice cream after the buffet and stuff. They got to go to work. It sucks. Right. I mean,
that's actually a good premise for a movie. I don't think this movie would be very good, but what do you think? Well, hear me out. So a pirate, a pirate vessel that sailing the 7 seas, but they get caught in this time loop, time vortex or temporal vortex, and they get transported into 2024, and so they try to raid ships or something, or and they go to the mainland and they're so confused as to what's going on. I think that would be a bad movie that might be funny.
Like a Sharknado style movie, or in the neighborhood. In the neighborhood,
it's one of those movies where someone is like in a coma and they wake up, or what's the movie with Brendan Fraser where they're locked in the
Blast from the Past. I just watched it recently. Yeah,
Yeah.
Blast from the Past.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, it's one of my favorite movies of all time.
It's a great movie.
It's so good. It's so good.
It would be like that because, like, it's like a person
Yeah.
out of place, like, just like generally confused by what's happening, but then they adjust to it, and like, yeah, it's a fun movie.
Mhm.
Like, I feel like these pirates, it would be like you can make it funny, like, they're trying to like commandeer vessels, and you're like, what are you doing? We're just transporting this to China.
Yeah. Or it could at least be like a cruise, or it could be a commercial, maybe. I don't know. Anyhow, let's get to the game here. What do you like here, Walt?
So I early in the week I was in Tampa, just as a play with a bad quarterback against Todd Bowles, who has just like annihilated bad quarterbacks. But like the more I think about it, and like looking at the injury report, like it's not great for Tampa. Like these guys, like Mike Evans and Tristan Wirfs are going to play, but like they're banged up, like they barely practiced. So that's like one issue for me in this game. Another thing is that like this is an awful rest spot for Tampa because they're coming off an overtime game, whereas the Raiders are coming off a extra rest. And actually, I did the input into Killer Sports, and teams with extra rest versus teams coming off overtime, they cover like 56% of the time. It's not like a major thing, but it's enough that like it's like yeah, this makes a lot of sense. So I thought that I thought that this is just a bad spot for Tampa. Also, the Raiders, and definitely credit to Slew for bringing this up a couple of days ago. The Raiders' offense has been better since Norv Turner was brought in. Like Norv Turner obviously was a failed head coach in multiple places, but he was a genius offensive coordinator. He's just a great offensive coordinator wherever he went. And so like the fact that he's like aiding the offense. I think that helps out a lot. And you look at the 3 games the Raiders have had since they brought in Norv Turner. The first game, like they were very close to Miami. Like Miami eventually won by 15. They broke through at the end, but like the Raiders are moving the ball like pretty well the entire game against the Miami defense. That's been pretty good. The second game was 29-19, and it was against the Broncos. But if you remember, the Raiders are 1 yard away from getting the backdoor cover at the end, and that was to Spencer Ritter. Who had to step in for Minshew, who got hurt. And then last week, they had Aiden O'Connell throw for 300 yards against the Chiefs. So, they've just been a better team. And so I think this line's a little too high, given that given all these circumstances. So I've laid off the game. I'm still leaning Tampa, but like part of me thinks I should switch to the Raiders. It's 0 units either way. So it really doesn't matter. As far as props are concerned, I like Brock Bowers over 69.5 receiving yards. Like Tampa's awful against tight ends. So this is another advantage for the Raiders. I feel like Norv Turner should recognize this and just be able to like beat the Buccaneers over the middle of the field over and over again. So yeah, what are your thoughts on this game?
I don't know. I'm kind of torn on it. I don't like I'll say this. After the Bucs lost to Kansas City in overtime, I really thought they had lost a couple tough games there, including the 2 to Atlanta earlier this season. But I really kind of thought after they kept that one close against Kansas City that they were going to kind of mow down the next 3 opponents after that game, which were San Francisco, which they lost, the Giants. Well, that was the Tommy DeVito game. And then they had to get to overtime to Carolina. So I don't know. I feel like this is maybe another team that maybe I keep waiting for them to turn the corner, and maybe they're not. I know they have injuries, of course, with Godwin, and now Evans is starting to come back, but I don't know. Also, like this Vegas team, they're coming off a long week, and I don't know. I feel like at any time we are thinking about them, they tend to cover, but maybe that only happened one time. I feel like they've backdoored like twice though.
Yeah, they backdoored against the Chiefs. I guess Chiefs twice. I guess they've almost backdoored a couple of times. They backdoored against the Rams. Remember they kicked that nonsense field goal.
Yeah, and it's 20-15.
Yeah.
Okay. That was the Rams, or was that against the Superchargers?
That was against the Rams.
Oh, okay.
The Chargers was the first game of the season.
That's right.
And no, they almost backdoored on another occasion, and like really against the Ravens week 2, they backdoored, but then they actually like won the game. But no, they have had their fair shares of backdoors, so 3 of them. But yeah, I mean, yeah, they could do it again, or this could be a slaughter like the blowout against Cincinnati. Like that could be the case too. And as John's pointing out, Raiders lost their Super Bowl. They could be deflated. That's definitely true. This is a bad team. So
Yeah,
this is not a team I'd want to bet on.
yeah. Now I'm starting to lean Tampa now. I think because now all of a sudden Tampa's in position here. I mean, they're in second place because Atlanta owns the tiebreaker over them, but they have the same record. I mean, they're going to bring it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I like Tampa here.
Okay.
I'm not going to touch it, but I'll pick Tampa.
Tom likes Tampa in the Battle of the Pirates. This magic saying Jacoby JSN DK full PPR.
What's JSN?
Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Speaking in code here.
It says I would not go DK because I think he's injured. Plus, it's not a great matchup. JSN has a better matchup than DK. I also love Jacoby Myers. I think he's so underrated. I'm gonna be playing him on DraftKings. I think in my spy lineup, I haven't finalized that yet, but I think he might make the cut. I might have Aiden O'Connell as the quarterback just because it's such a pass funnel. And he's so cheap. He's like 4,800. It allows you to like get everything else. But as far as my point projections are concerned, I have Jackson Smith and Jigba at 16 PPR. I have Metcalf at 14, and I have Myers at 15. So that's how close it is. So I guess Jackson Smith and Jigba, but it's super close. So a good luck, with that decision. It's a tough one. Any thoughts on this one or not?
I don't know. I'm no good at I'm no good at NFL DFS, but if you have the chance to start little Jordan Humphrey and he goes off, you might win yourselves.
There's your meme guy.
So many good names.
Yeah, Blast from the Past is an awesome movie. I've been meaning to watch it again. Yeah,
I think I'm going to watch it.
Time.
I'm going to watch it tonight. I think after I'll put it on while I'm going to bed.
Nice,
classic.
I'm currently watching Step by Step. I discovered it on HBO Max. I was actually looking for something, either Penguin or there's another show. This Jon Snow actor's in it. I can't remember what it was called. I was looking for it. I loaded HBO Max and I saw. What'd you say?
Batman Forever. Is that what you were looking for?
No. It was.
Tommy Lee Jones in Batman Forever. Like he did like his great. That was like a Jim Carrey impression.
It's Industry. That's what it's called.
It's called Industry. Okay.
Industry. I've heard good things about Industry, so I wanted to watch that. I also wanted to watch The Penguin, which I heard good things about. So both are on HBO Max. I loaded HBO Max, and I just got distracted right away because I saw Step by Step, and I was like, I love that show as a kid. I used to watch it with my mom, my sister every Friday night, and I had this huge my childhood crush for actors was the girl who played Al on the show, Christine Lakin, who's like, I remember her. She's like a year older than me, and she when the show first started, this girl was like 12. I was like 11 at the time, But she turned into super hot, during the later years too. So
you had good taste even in your youth. It looks like.
That's right. So no, I used to love that show. I wanted to see how it held up. And it's a little funny, but at the same time, it feels like all the characters are such stereotypes. The one the 6 kids, you have the nerd, you have obviously the little kid who just makes one-liners. You have Al's the tomboy, you have the ditz who's Karen, you have the feminist, the the unbearable feminist with Dana, and then you had JT who's the dumbass guy, the dumbest teenager who does stupid stuff. And then you had Cody, who's the nephew who just this weed smoking guy who lives in his van. And then you have the two parents. And it's kind of stupid how they just they pigeonhole all these characters into stereotypes. but at the same time, it was still like it's still funny. I still like had some laughs at it. So
Yeah,
it held up.
maybe it was just me, but I didn't even really notice that sort of thing back then. I don't know,
Yeah,
like that
I
sort of
get it.
stuff wasn't getting policed socially like it is now. But anyhow, sorry, the Walter football family is going to pelt virtual vegetables at me for holding up getting off on tangents and not talking football, because that's what the people are here for. They don't want to hear my nonsense, huh? Oh,
Well,
my
speaking of football, we have good news. Oregon, well, sorry, Papa Storm, but Oregon held on to cover. Unfortunately, SMU forced overtime, or I think it's overtime. It's like 3 seconds left, so I don't know if they're going to do a Hail Mary, but yeah, it looks like our Clemson bet might be in danger here, unfortunately. So,
oh, geez, well, keep us posted.
we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, Robert Shaw, the chick from Marathon Man. A Black Sunday. Okay. I've not heard of Black Sunday. You have to tell me. I wonder, what's it about? Is that was that a football show?
Marathon.
My childhood crush was Sarah Michelle Gellar and Buffy. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, yeah, she was hot too. Tom had a crush on Winnie in the Wonder Years.
Oh no, actually, I was telling Walt, I won't get in the details. Janet Jackson was my first celebrity crush from that music video "Go Deep." It was that's a good. I love Janet Jackson back in like the 6th grade. So
Janet
Winnie was
Jackson.
good too. Topanga, most yeah. There you go, Chris. There you go, Chris Fluke is saying Topanga. That's another. That's And yeah, how many of you had a crush on Lola Bunny? Don't lie. That's actually a thing. You know that? There's like some. Maybe let's not open that. Let's move on.
Oh, Clemson did win. Clemson won. Nice. There we go.
Yeah.
56-yard Clemson wins. Nice. I didn't even know what channel it was on. I was trying to find it.
Yeah.
Nice. So 4-1. 4-1.
There you go. There you go.
Another 4-1. I think on the year we're 46-29. In
Holy cow, that's really good, man.
Yeah. Kelly Kapowski. Yeah. That was everyone. It's kind of if you go back and watch. There's this thing called Zach Morris's Trash. On
I love those. Those are good.
Great. It's on Amazon Prime. But they it's so weird. He has like a cardboard cutout of Kelly in his room. It's like,
yeah.
How did you get that? How'd you get? Well, first of all, how'd you get that? And like, second, why do you have that?
Yeah, I need to write these down. Blast from the Past and Zach Morris's Trash, so I can remember. I can remember what I need to fall asleep to later. I'm resting my weary head.
I haven't even watched all of them, the Zach Morris's Trash, because I wanted to save them. Because they're so good. They're so funny.
It's Isn't it crazy how like back then we didn't even blink? I guess because we knew it was just like a work of fiction at the end of the day.
You know what? Like he was so charismatic on the show that he could get away with it. So Saved by the Bell did a reboot where Zach Morris is the governor of California and his son is basically the mischievous high schooler now.
Mm-hmm.
And his son, I even forget his name at this point, but his son, he does all the stuff, he does the same stuff that Zach did, but it just seems so off with him because he has no charisma at all. He seems like a creep, and I can go back and watch old episodes of Saved by the Bell and it's funny, Zach can get away with it, but this his kid could not. And that show is just awful. It was so bad. There's one good episode where they had all the old cast members back, and that was funny. Except for Screech. But the other episodes when they focus on the kids was just horrendous. It's so bad.
Oh wow. I didn't watch a lot of Saved by the Bell, but
Mac Morris, yeah.
It was just a little bit. It was just a little bit before my time. I was still pretty young when that was really popular.
Okay, yeah, it was pretty big when I was growing up. Band champ chick from American Pie was pretty hot.
Band champ chick.
Band camp chick.
Allison Hannigan.
Yeah, she was on How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah, that's right.
That was a great show until the final season. Too bad about Screech. Yeah, randomly, I have a Dustin Diamond autograph picture.
Really?
I wish I know where it was. It's here somewhere. I'll have to find it and show you guys another episode. Yeah, so my friend Lauren was actually friends with him, and she knew how I was obsessed with the show because I was always reciting it. she told him, and so he autographed the picture and he gave it to her to give to me. So I actually have an autograph of Screech just randomly.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I'll have to find it.
Wow.
Yeah.
You ever think about trying to sell that? Nah, keep it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It means more to me. I don't know. Like, how much would it go for anyway?
You
But
never
no,
know.
I guess. Yeah, I don't know. if it's like $100,000, yeah, absolutely. It's gonna be like $20. Like, who's gonna pay for it? I don't know. I'd rather keep it than the $20.
Yeah, I know. All right,
Yeah.
let's keep it going before I get vegetables.
Okay, yeah. So anyway, we have Browns at the Steelers here. This is a tough one for me, just because you don't want to bet Tomlin as a favorite, especially coming off a win, like an upset win. Like this is just a bad track record game for him. At the same time, though, you have Jameis Winston against a good defense and an opponent that just lost to Jameis Winston 2 weeks ago. So I think there's a chance that the Steelers might have a good game plan for him. On the other hand, though, the Steelers have to play the Eagles next week, and then they have the Ravens, and then they have the Chiefs, and so they could just be like, we'll beat the Browns. That was a fluke in the snow. So I don't know what Pittsburgh's mindset's going to be heading into this game. If you told me they're going to be 100% focused and they just want to slaughter the Browns, then I think I could definitely end up backing Pittsburgh. But I don't know what the motivation is going to be. So this is a pass for me. And like, frankly, I don't think I can handle another Jameis Winston game. Like, I don't think my heart can handle it. So I need a break. I need a break from Winston. So what are your thoughts on this game?
I don't blame you one bit, and I like the Steelers here, but I'm probably going to pass on it too. But I do like the Steelers. There's just been so much noise around the Browns lately. Yeah, they did have that, and I did take them that Thursday night game against the Steelers, but the Steelers still almost came back and won that game.
Yeah,
they almost blew it at the very end. I just think with all the noise going around, it's all this Jameis hype now. They're coming off a short week and coming off a game that was, I mean, it was a roller coaster of emotions for me. So I can't imagine what it was like for them.
Yeah.
I just think that Steelers, and being at home, it's a huge advantage here. Jameis Winston praying the Lord will deliver me from pick sixes. It's so funny the different characters that are in this show that is the NFL. It's really something. But yeah, I'll pass on it. But I do like the Steelers.
Yeah, it's better than any reality TV show. It's
yeah.
It's definitely true.
It's really starting to border WWF, WWE.
Yeah. All right. So we have Panthers, Eagles here. I'm not high on this one either for the same reason. The Eagles have a look ahead as well. They're coming off a big statement win against Baltimore. And after this game, they take on Pittsburgh and then Washington, Dallas in some order. I can't remember which one. But yeah, they have a look ahead here. And I don't know if they're going to be focused for the Panthers. This might be like the Jacksonville game from a few weeks ago. I should think about a month ago, where they were up 22-0 and they kind of goofed around in the second half and they ended up winning but not covering. And I think they could blow this cover here, especially with the Panthers playing at their best. Like, this is the best they played all year. A couple of things. One, Bryce Young, while he has played a lot better and he still has the issues of like being 5'8" and like not being able to see over the opposite line. But like, what he is like doing mentally, I think is like really good. Like his anticipation is like off the charts, and you can see like why he was like highly touted as a prospect. He's still like super flawed, but I like at least like it seems like Dave Canales has like really turned his career around. But the caveat is like the 4 defenses he's played against are all mediocre to worse. So this is his first big test against the Eagles. They're number 1 in defense in EPA. So we'll see how he does. I'm excited to watch. Like, I really want to see it. The second thing is that I think the Eagles, like I said, it's going to be the look ahead. And they could just everyone's betting Saquon Barkley. I wanted to get into the prop. Saquon Barkley is just going to be super highly owned in DFS, and he's like, it's a great matchup, right? But he may not get there just because I feel like the Eagles could take him out in the second half, just like get him rested for this tough stretch that they have going on. And so like I'm really not interested in playing Barkley. What I do like is AJ Brown over 76.5 receiving yards. Feels like he can get there easily because the Panthers are really bad against number one receivers. And so, and really, the last thing, something to watch out for is that the Panthers have some injury question marks. DJ Wanham and Josie Jewell are both questionable. The Panthers defense has been a lot better lately. It's still not great, but they've been a lot better than the unit that was awful in the first half of the year. And it's because both players came back from injury, and now they're both questionable. So if they're both out, then I think the Eagles might be you could warrant a small bet on them. But otherwise, I have no interest in this game. Who do you like in this game?
Well, the Eagles are certainly coming in with a full head of momentum here, but I can kind of make arguments for both sides here. This has kind of been a tough one for me. I think I'm leaning Eagles because let's look at what we've seen from Bryce Young at times. You mentioned the some of the good games he's had here recently were against some mediocre to lesser defenses. But I can't shake that. Remember the version we saw of him week 1 against the Saints?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, it was I knew from the start. I knew from the first or second drive there was no way we were going to get that.
Right.
But then on the other side of it, we've seen the Eagles not cover against the Jags. Was it 30-24 after blowing a 22-0 lead, and we've seen them beat the Browns only 20-16 at home too. And Nick Sirianni's yelling at the fans, so it's just I don't know. There's both of those things, but I will say this, because Bryce Young is finally at least getting a little bit better here. But if somehow if he has a good game here, then I think he's going to have more people believing in him. So I hope he does have a good game.
That's definitely true.
So keep that in mind too. Bryce, if you're Bryce Young, you got to be feeling good because your career looked DOA, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean. So I'm glad. I want everyone to do well. I don't take any joy in this guy sucks. Some people, I think that's I don't know if you ever hear of Pat Corbin. He's a pitcher for the Nationals.
I know the name.
Yeah, there's a gambling community. There's it's Pat Corbin Day. Always bet against him. It's he had a bad year or two, but it's just I don't know. I hope Bryce Young does well. I don't enjoy when players do poorly. You know what I mean? But if I'm him, I've got to be juiced right now. He knows this is his chance. Things are getting better, and this is his opportunity to really show people I just needed, I just took a different path.
Yeah,
sort of thing to really start getting better. So I hope that's the case. I hope he has a good game. So I don't know. I can argue both sides. I'm gonna pass on it, but I guess I'd have to side with the Eagles if I had to pick one.
Yeah, we have some comments here from ESPN Bet. Eagles Panthers is our most bet game of the weekend, and it's been largely one-way traffic with 70% of the spread handle and 80% of the money line handle on Philly. And then also I saw this on Twitter. A better circa bet 3.1 million on the Eagles money line. Any worries about fishy reffing these days when the books want one side to win, or does that not happen anymore? It happens, but not very often in the NFL. I think that from what I remember, Jim Rome interviewed this mobster. It was about 20 years ago. I remember watching it at Penn State, and this guy was talking about how sports are rigged. This is before the Tim Donaghy stuff came out, I think. And he was, or maybe it was during this stuff. I can't remember when it was, but in relation to that. But he said that one game per month in the NFL is rigged, and one game per week in college football is rigged. That's what he said. And I don't know. He's a mobster, so and it's not on one hand, not the best source of information, but on the other hand, it's probably the best source of information. So. I don't know.
Well, I can't remember. I saw an interview once, and I can't remember his name, but I remember the interview pretty well, where he said it wasn't it was rigged in the sense that the mobster told the players okay, you're the quarterback, or you need to turn the ball over, you need to do it 3 or 4 times, and he's and we'll take it from there.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's now they know this is going to happen, so they're going to take all their money and bet against them.
There's
because it's okay, I think he told you have to get throw 4 interceptions or fumble the ball a bunch of times.
Yeah,
that way they have they know that they have an advantage of at least 4 turnovers, because if the player doesn't do it, then they owe them money. That's why a lot of the players were doing it. He was saying, and like they would do that to forgive a debt. They're throwing the game for him, so they would just make a bigger bet than what that guy owed them, and they're good.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, it pays out $442,000. So it's not like that's not going to make or break Circa, So I don't know if it's going to be rigged. I do have Eagles -0.5 on a 4-team 13-point teaser that I bet through Evan. So we'll see. I have Eagles -0.5. I have Chiefs +9. I have Bills +9, and I have Dolphins +7.5. So we'll see how that goes. So I like those. I think that the math comes out to like pretty profitable if you get all the key numbers and stuff. So hopefully the Eagles win. I've it's not 3.1 million to stake. It's like $200. So hopefully it comes in. Speaking of sports being rigged, there's actually a movie. Maybe you'll watch it instead of Blast from the Past. It's called Harvard Man. And it stars the guy who played Vince on what was that show? Entourage. He's the starting point guard for Harvard basketball, and some people come up to him and tell him to tank the game, and like he refuses to do it, and then there are repercussions from it. It was a pretty good movie. It's not like great. It's not like a masterpiece, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, what's it called? Harvard what?
Harvard Man.
Harvard Man. Okay, I'll type. Let me get my handy dandy notepad here. I got to write this down, or I'm like.
Speaking of Sarah Michelle Gellar, she's in it too.
Oh, really? Yeah. I'm like Leonard Shelby from Memento. Like I can't remember. I would probably have forgot all these things by the end of the night if I didn't type it out. But
you're gonna put a tattoo on your foot and be like, "What is Harvard Man?"
Yeah. He's like, "Oh yeah, that decent movie."
I like Memento, but the issue I had with it is like if you have like short-term amnesia and you don't remember anything, like are you really going to be like investigating stuff or like trying to find like who killed your wife, because you're just going to forget like everything you do.
Right, but that's part of the conundrum that was the madness of his existence, I suppose.
Right, and it seems like so impossible that I would just like not want to do it. It's a great movie. It was a great movie, but like I was like, man, like it just seems like it'd never be possible to do anything like this. I don't know. I guess you're right. I mean, that is part of
yeah. No, it's a fair point. I don't want to give anything away. I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but
shouts to Nev Campbell too. Yes,
90s babes.
Yes. Individual sports like boxing and tennis are the ones most likely to be rigged. Yeah, you know what is the most rigged sport in the world is sumo wrestling. They actually how they do is sumo wrestlers like determines their caste, and so like in society, and like some like sumo wrestlers who won't be demoted in their caste, like they'll actually throw a match to get their friend into a better caste system in Japan. Like I read about it in I think it was Freakonomics or something, or it was in a book. But like they were explaining how rigged sumo wrestling is.
What book? What night was it? Sumo Wrestling Journal? Do you have a subscription?
So Sumo Wrestling Digest.
Dude, dude, let's handicap sumo wrestling, bro.
It's so rigged, though. I mean, if
we can be on the inside. We can be on the inside.
Right. I don't know if that's available on sportsbooks, but
no. We'll find a way. Remember how we were talking about me being the eyes on the ground? Yeah. I already went to Munich for that Panthers-Giants game. I didn't go to the game, but I was there. I'll go to Japan.
You go to Tokyo, hang out with the sumo wrestlers, find out which ones are going to
be I'll be the informant.
But we still have to get a sports book that books sumo wrestling.
Yeah, I'll be like the proxy over there.
Okay, okay.
I'll start like Walter Football will go like international headquarters, and I'll just live there.
WalterSumo.com.
Yeah, and then I'll just I'll be the proxy. Like I'll get you the information. Like we'll put the bets in for us, and like I'll make a humble living out there in Japan for a couple of years, and then I'll bring the money back and
Sumo Wrestling Foundation. There it is.
SWF. Nice.
Yeah. Nice. All right, let's get to the next game. We have Jets at the Dolphins here. The final game of the early slate. Man, how do you back the Jets? Like they
Yeah.
like not only are they awful, but they are now injured, so they're going to be missing Sauce Gardner. They're going to be missing Brees Hall. C.J. Mosley just got put on IR. It looks like Elijah Vera Tucker may be out. He was DMP limited. Tyron Smith is on IR, and so Olu Fashanu or Fashanu, however you want to say it, he was limited all week as well. So like there's a chance that the Jets are going to be down their top three tackles too. Um, so yeah, I mean this team just sucks. Like even before their injuries, they were losing to everyone, and now like they were spotted 21-6 against Seattle on just special teams. They didn't score again after that. This team is awful, and we know what Miami is. Miami is a team that beats bad teams. They lose to the good teams, and we know the Jets are a bad team. And Miami is coming off a blowout loss with extra time. I think this is a great spot for them. And look, the Sharks are betting the Jets, but that just means we get a better number of Miami. So I'm fine with it. And I actually asked Andy yesterday how he feels if he loves the side, but like the Sharps are on the other side. And he's like, yeah, it doesn't matter, it doesn't bother me, just sound like it's just a guy who's been handicapping for 3 decades. He probably and maybe rightly so. Like he probably thinks that he can out handicap the Sharps anyway. I mean, he might be a Sharp to begin with. So, Miami for me here. I love this play. What do you think?
As a lifelong Packers fan, it's so interesting to watch Aaron Rodgers out there, and not only are his stats down, that's a given. He just looks so different. It looks so weird. It's so weird to watch. He just doesn't look like himself at all. I mean, for obvious reasons, he's getting older.
Yeah.
But I just don't think his head, and I don't think this is an uncommon opinion. I just don't feel like his head's in the game. The whole situation's a mess. Dolphins are coming off a long week. I really like him here. I don't know what the Jets are playing for. A lot of, and with all the injuries, a lot of things would have to happen, I feel like. And I mean, and look at like you said last week, they had 3 special teams. I'm talking like a lot would have to happen, like 3 to the tune of like 3 special teams touchdowns. Well, they did that last week, and it still wasn't enough.
Yeah.
Give me the Dolphins.
Yeah, I mean, they had 3 special teams or touchdowns, 3 touchdowns that were related to special teams, and they lost by 5. So what happens when they don't get these special teams touchdowns against I don't know if Miami's can be classified as a good team, but they're either the worst of the good teams or the best of the bad teams, or maybe they're just mediocre. I don't know, but like they have explosive players on offense. They have a better defense. Kendall Fuller's coming back, which is nice. And yeah, I mean, you said it. Like, what do the Jets have to play for here? They have a lame duck coach and a lame duck quarterback. And like maybe they show up for the second Bills game. Outside of that, I just don't see them trying very hard. And the Dolphins crushed them twice last year, so they can do it again. Although one game was with Tim Boyle, so I don't know if that counts. Anyway, we have Seattle, Arizona to get into the late slate here. I'm not in love with this game. I do like Arizona, and I brought up the dynamic where they now have a lot of games where 2 teams play against each other twice in a span of 3 weeks. And when the team that loses is not a huge favorite in the next game, they usually cover like around 60% of the time. And I don't really like to go with trends or anything, but it makes sense. It's almost like the zigzag pattern in NBA playoffs. The Cardinals are going to have a better game plan prepared, like they have to. They lost by 10 to Seattle. Like they're going to have something up their sleeve here for Seattle. And Seattle is going to be a little cocky coming into this game. They were like, yeah, we beat this team already. And plus, they just played on the East Coast, so they have to travel back. It's a tough travel spot here for Seattle. So I like Arizona here to get revenge from 2 weeks ago. I didn't post a player prop for this game. I was waiting with some injury stuff. I might bet on Trey McBride over, but we'll see. What do you think about this game?
I like Arizona. I like them a good bit. They've played a lot of good games this year, even including some losing efforts. So they covered the first week against Buffalo. In fact, they had a 14-0 lead in that game. Mm-hmm. They only lost to Detroit by 7. They have taken their lumps in some games, but they beat they won 4 in a row, including a victory against the Superchargers. So, they did look bad against Seattle, but they probably could have won this game against Minnesota. And I keep that clip of Bill Belichick saying, watch out for those, or keep an eye on the Cardinals. I don't know why has just really stuck with me. I like too that the Seahawks are a publicly backed dog, and I like that they beat them the first time. In Arizona, I think this number is right, and I think Arizona is gonna cover it pretty easily.
Okay. Yeah, we're on the same side there. Like I just said, I'm not in love with this game. Just because like Kyler Murray hasn't played well off the bye, which is like a little concerning for me. But I think he can bounce back here. Plus, Seattle's not going to have Kenneth Walker, which like not a huge deal. But the fact that like Metcalf like didn't practice really until Friday, like that's a little worry. Seattle has beaten Arizona 6 straight. I heard. Is that right? I believe so. Let me look. I have the data right here. So yeah, Seattle has won 38-30, 19-9, 31-21, 20-10, 21-20, and 16-6. So 6 in a row for Seattle. I don't know if that means much. It's a new coaching staff, really for both teams. I mean, I know that Gannon was there last year, but still, he's only had 3 cracks at Seattle, and one was a 1-point game. And then Mike McDonald's his second game against Arizona. So I don't know if that means much. There's a lot of turnover in the NFL each year. Maybe it means, I don't know. What do you think? Does this bother you at all?
What, that they've beaten them 6 times in a row?
Yeah.
It doesn't. I mean, obviously you'd like to be on the other side of that trend, I suppose, but no, I like the spot, and the public reacted accordingly. I also don't like publicly backed dogs. I think Arizona could win maybe kind of handily here.
Okay.
I hope so.
All right.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, we'll see. So all right, we'll stick. I predict Zona wins at a blowout 5 units. So
Thank you, Chris.
I like the confidence.
All right.
Any Chris, any reason for that? I would love to be as confident as you in this. Like I do like the side. I'm not as confident in it, but yeah, let's definitely hear why. I would love to know why you like them so much. All right, let's stay in the NFC West. We have the Rams hosting the Bills. This line has been creeping down, so it looks like there's sharp money coming in on LA. This line is now Bills -3.5, and who knows? We might get a 3 by kickoff. I have my doubts about that, but we'll see. I mean, if this goes down to Bills -3, I'll have interest in Buffalo. This is a bad spot for Buffalo, I will say. They're coming off that big snow game win against San Francisco, and then next week they take on the Lions. So it is a non-conference game, so I don't know how much it means to Buffalo, but still, you have to think that like they're looking a little bit ahead to that. But then again, they could view this as a business trip, and they really haven't gotten they haven't been caught flat in their obvious look ahead spots. They had 2 of them this year. One was against the Jaguars on Monday Night Football, and because they had the Ravens next. They just beat the Bills right before that. They beat the Jaguars 47-10. It was a laugher, really. It was just embarrassing for Jacksonville. The other flat spot that they had was against the Colts before playing the Chiefs. They won that game 30-20. Now, in fairness, Joe Flacco threw 1 million interceptions in that game to help out Buffalo. But still, they haven't been caught looking ahead yet. So I don't know if that means they're going to not get caught looking ahead for this game, or maybe it's a fluke and they will finally get caught looking ahead. So it's a tough one. I don't know. It's a real tough one. But if you look at the Rams, they just haven't beaten any elite teams ever since they won the Super Bowl. Like every time they go against an elite team, like the Eagles, the Bills. I don't know if they played the Chiefs in that span, but like if you look at how they played against these top tier teams, they just haven't won. And so I think the Bills will come into LA and just take it to the Rams. So I'm leaning Bills, but I'm just worried about their mindset. So what do you think about this game?
I like what Mike Hartle just said here.
Okay, he says, I kind of like the Rams because the Bills embarrassed them in the opener 2 years ago. That's another example. That was another example of the Rams not being able to beat an elite team. Yeah, after the Rams won the Super Bowl revenge game.
I remember that game.
Yeah. I mean, there's been turnover. I don't know how many players from that game are still on the Rams. I don't. Obviously, like Stafford and Kupp, but like Kyron Williams wasn't playing that game. I think that he got injured in the first play of that game, if I remember correctly. So like he didn't play in that game. Puka Nacua obviously wasn't there. Like some of their linemen weren't. Some were, like Havenstein was. Defensively, like Jared Verse wasn't. Brandon Fiske wasn't. Some of the cornerbacks and safeties they brought in for free agency weren't. So like, yeah, maybe I don't know. I don't really. That's so long ago. If it was last year, I could see it, but like that was, I don't know. It's too long ago, I think.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm going to pass on this one, but I do feel like this could be a possible letdown spot for the Bills. And I see
Right.
that John Sanders is recommending a money line bet on the Bills, which I see the argument for that for sure, John. But then I mean, like the Rams, like we took them on our card last week against New Orleans,
Yeah.
and we were sweating that one out. It's just like why, and especially with all the talent that they have on offense, it's like why aren't they like crushing? Like really pouring it on here. I mean, they did still cover, so that's good, but. So that they just seem like they haven't, for me, like lived up to expectations.
Yeah.
For me, and the Bills have been mowing everybody down, but I am hesitant because this does seem like a letdown spot for them. So I'm going to pass. I guess I'll just say the Rams then. But I'm going to pass on it. That's not an advertised pick, nor are any of mine. This is not financial advice from me at all.
This is not your interconference game of the year. Call Tom now.
Big sky winner of the year.
I used to love those commercials. Like they always have a game of the year. It'd be like interconference NFL game of the year, and like the next week it would be like NFC South game of the year. And they have a game of the year every week. Like,
I love it. Yeah. It's like every book, like what books aren't New York Times bestsellers? Like if you're not a New York Times bestseller, like I feel like that you hear that title all the time. I guess those are the only books that get advertised.
Oh, well, maybe my books aren't the only ones that are not New York Times bestsellers.
Well, give it time.
Well, guys, you can help us get on that list by going to Amazon. By the way,
exactly. Look, it's right there. It's right there on the. That wasn't even planned. Wow, I'm really getting good at this job.
I know.
So, we appreciate everyone being here.
The tweet that you referenced, or the comment you referenced, Allen is 23-6 against NFC teams. Take the Bills money line if you're going to bet it. I think there's like stats like that can be fluky. Like the stat Lamar Jackson's like 20-2 or 21-2 against NFC teams. Like the person in me who hates trends is like, who cares about this? But I think there is some validity to it because like these NFC teams don't have the game plan for Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson, and so like they're not focused in the offseason. They're not like thinking like, oh, how are we going to beat Josh Allen? How are we going to beat Lamar Jackson? Whereas like the teams in the AFC, like they built their team. The Steelers, this is a classic example. The Steelers built their roster to beat Lamar Jackson, and like you see it in the results. Whereas like teams in the NFC, like they're caught flat-footed against Lamar Jackson because like they don't know how to handle him. Same thing with the Bills, the Josh Allen. Like Josh Allen's a freak of nature. Like his arm strength, like what he does, like passing, but he can also run very effectively. Like it's so tough to beat him if you're not familiar with him. And so I think that there is definitely something to this. And it really should be. I don't know. Maybe I should factor this in more, like the freak of nature quarterbacks that the opposing conferences don't see. I don't know. Maybe I'll bet the Bills. I don't know about the money line. Maybe I'll get a -3. I try to get a -3 tomorrow or something.
Yeah, I'm not going to touch this one. I can't. I'm scared.
Okay. Chris says Cardinals underrated. Haven't lost to a bad team all year, unless you count Seattle. Seahawks overrated. I agree. Have had a brutal travel schedule, crisscrossing the country all season. I expect they fade. Seattle 3-0 start was a farce. Walker out. Williams hurt. I'm not I don't really care about Walker being out. Like Charbonnet is a good backup, but it's a good point about Leonard Williams being hurt. He barely practiced this week, and he's been key to them turning their defense around. Ever since he got healthy, their run defense has been so good. So if he's playing at less than 100%, then James Conner can run well, unlike what he did last time they played them. So that could really help Arizona for sure. So yeah, it's a good point, Chris, about Leonard Williams. I should have brought that up. So and also the traveling too. So yeah, I can see why you'd be confident in Arizona. All right, let's get to the final late afternoon game. We have another NFC West team, the Bears, Niners. So this line has been just dismantled by the Sharps. This line opened 4.5. It's down to 3, I believe. Yeah, it's -3 across the board. Not seeing any 3.5s even. So the Sharps love Chicago, and I'm not. I've been ragging on the Sharps for their love of the Jets. And I feel like there's one team every year that they keep betting and they keep losing. Remember the Broncos a year ago? They kept betting the Broncos even in that 70-20 game.
Oh,
So the Sharps can screw up, but I think they are on the right side here. Chicago is a team that is better than 4-8. Like even if you just take the Hail Mary game and the blocked field goal, they'd be 6-6, and no one would be ragging on them right now. In fact, Eberflus is still probably be coaching at this point. But Eberflus was fired, and I think that's a good it's a good factor for Chicago here with the coaching change. With the Niners, Trent Williams is out again. Nick Bosa is out again. Christian McCaffrey's out. Jordan Mason's out. Dre Greenlaw's out. Brandon Ayuk's still out. Javon Hargrave's still out. This is half their starters are on IR, or they're just sidelined for this week. How's this team keep functioning? And they don't. They blow leads, or they just struggle to beat bad teams. They had issues putting away the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers without Mike Evans, by the way. It was Baker Mayfield thrown to Otten and garbage receivers like McMillan and Sterling Shepard. They almost lost to Tampa. And so is against an underrated Chicago team that has gotten better ever since they fired their offensive coordinator. Caleb Williams has done a lot better recently. I think Chicago wins this game. So yeah, give me the Bears. What are your thoughts on this one?
I like the Bears a lot too. The Bears have lost their last 3 games, all to division opponents by a grand total in those 3 games of 7 points.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, they really did not look good in the first half of that game against Thanksgiving, but they do have Jeff Saturday syndrome. Now that Eberflus is out of there, and the best time to fire your coach is on a long week, I really like the Bears here, especially after that San Francisco performance, especially once McCaffrey got hurt. They're just a team to me that seemed like the wind has been taken out of their sails. Sure, you can argue that they as bad as they've been and as injured as they've been, given how mediocre their division is, they still have a shot at it. But I don't know. This team just seems disheartened. I like the Bears here a good bit, maybe to win outright.
Yeah. So Shanahan on the sidelines looks like he's in a line for the soup kitchen. He does have this homeless vibe to him. He really does. I don't know what happened to him. He looks like he's aged 20 years. Maybe it's just these long seasons that he just can't handle it. I feel like he needs a break. Just take a year off and come back. I think that would help him out a lot.
Yeah.
When I just could rebound here in cozy California after playing at Green Bay and Buffalo. Everyone thinks the Niners are going to keep rebounding. That's the issue. These falling knife teams, the Jets, everyone thinks they're going to rebound. They don't. The Bengals, everyone thinks they're going to rebound. They don't. The Niners, everyone thinks they're going to rebound. They don't. They've had 14 weeks to rebound now. They haven't done it. I don't know.
14 weeks to rebound.
Yeah. I don't see it. I don't see it. It's friendlier conditions, yeah, but this team sucks. This team sucks, and they're very injured.
Yeah, I mean, if there were a time and if they were going to bounce back, it's very unlikely it would be given how decimated they are with injury. That's what I think. Much less chance. Yeah.
The Bears have lost 6 games in a row and 0-5 on the road this year. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's not like they're traversing the Oregon Trail or anything. They're just they can play on the road. I think it's fluky. They almost won at Detroit. If they could almost win at Detroit, then they can win at San Francisco. How do you like the Buccaneers over 23.5 points? Only 3 games this year that they did not score that. Yeah, I like it. The Raiders' defense is not good. They have Max Crosby, but that's about it. They can't stop the pass. The run defense has gotten better, but they should still allow some decent number of points. So yeah, I would take the over. All right, so we go to Sunday Night Football. The Chargers at the Chiefs. The Chiefs are favored by 4. I saw some 3.5s at some point, but yeah, it's now 4. I know that you love this game, And so I don't know if you wanted to take it away first before I say anything that you might say.
Oh, sure. I don't have that much to say. It's funny.
You spent like 10 minutes talking up the Chiefs on their phone call today.
Well, I don't want to steal the spotlight. It's your show,
I'm giving it to you.
Oh, well, yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. No, but I mean, it's basically become canon at this point that the Chiefs are overrated and the Chiefs get every call. And there's always something suspicious happening in the Chiefs game. Like that is now canon. Like no one is late to that party. Everyone is caught up on it. And the Superchargers have played really well. And I think because of this, I think a lot of people are going to be inclined because if the line is +4, I know that's what it is in the Super Contest. I think that looks kind of juicy for the Chargers because the Chiefs have played in so many close games against some lesser teams. But I think this is a spot where they really show out. I mean, even in the first game, the Superchargers I think were up 10-0. They ended up losing 17-10. So which would cover this game too. And now it's in Kansas City. I think they run a clinic. Pacheco is now going to be getting some more work now back from injury, and I just think this is a great spot for them. Because I think the public is maybe a little bit not down on Kansas City, but not as high, I guess. So I like the Chiefs a lot. They are my favorite pick of the week, Walter.
Nice. I bet Isaiah Pacheco over 48.5 rushing yards. And to add to what you said, the Chiefs are also coming off extra rest. And so when you get a brilliant head coach like Andy Reid, granted, he does some stupid stuff sometimes, like throwing the ball deep on 3rd and 2 when all you need is 2 yards to win the game. But still, like when Andy Reid gets extra time to prepare for a team, like that usually ends up doing pretty well. So I like the spot for the Chiefs. It seems like it's funny. Like I was on the phone with Aton today, and I even said this, and I'm like, man, that was a dumb thing to say. I even said that, like, yeah, I think the Chiefs rebound from last week, and like I was like, wait a second, they won. But that's I feel like that's been the sentiment for the Chiefs. It's like people are acting as if they lost. Like all I'm seeing on Twitter is like there's no chance the Chiefs win the Super Bowl. That's like I like prominent people with like 50,000 plus or 100,000 plus followers, people on TV, like these people are saying that the Chiefs can't win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's canon now.
Yeah, and I'm thinking like it seems 11-1. What do you mean they can't win the Super Bowl? they're 11-1. Are you kidding me? They squashed the Ravens in the opener. I know it got close to the end, but they were up big. They beat the Niners by 10 when the Niners were healthier. That's the Niner team with Trent Williams and Nick Bosa. They went toe-to-toe with the Bills. I know they lost, but that was a close game. So, like, what do you mean they can't win the Super Bowl? That's asinine to say. The Chiefs are hearing this, of course. They're hearing how bad they were on Black Friday. Yeah. I think they quote unquote do rebound in this game. So
yeah. And let me add, I know I have been awfully critical of them. I acknowledge that throughout the season, but the fact is that we know that they can turn it on at any time, and I feel like this is a spot where people expect them not to because their stock is falling. Mm-hmm. And I think this is a game where they can really remind everyone, that they're as good as they are. So I do acknowledge that I have been very critical of them, but I love the spot for them here.
Mm-hmm. John's saying it's hard to back the Chiefs as they're 4-8 against the spread. 1-7 against the spread, my favorite by 4 or more. My gut tells me the Chiefs easily cover though. Well, I'll say this: 1-7 against the spread by favorite by 4 or more. But like a lot of those losses were by double digits, like double digit spreads too. So, like, I don't think you could group -4 to -13 and whatever what we saw last week. It's a different line. And I know, like, they still wouldn't have covered the -4 against the Raiders last week, but still, like, I think that I don't know. I'm glad to hear that you also think the Chiefs easily cover. Yeah, and I think maybe the fact that it's hard to back them makes them the right side. The public is on the Chargers, so.
That's music to my ears, baby. That's what I like to hear. I only go against the grain. That's the one way I know.
Yeah. It's good
I've lost my mind.
It's good to be contrarian, but you never want to go full contrarian.
Exactly.
Chris says no one is talking about how incredibly close the Chiefs are to being on a 4-game losing streak. I disagree. I feel like that's what everyone's talking about. I said, everyone on Twitter is like, this Chiefs team sucks. Like, no way they're going to win the Super Bowl. That's all I saw after that Black Friday game.
Yeah.
And you're right. Like, yeah, they are close to being on a 4-game losing streak. They find ways to win, and like they find ways to win when they're not trying. Like, I think they're going to try in this game. Like the Chargers, I feel like the Chargers will have their attention. It's like a team that's like close to them. If they lose this game, they're only 2 ahead of the Chargers. The Chargers could catch them if they're not careful. So I like this is they know this is their main competitor in the division, and so I think they will bring it. We'll see. Chargers
I really. Yeah,
yeah.
and John, and I appreciate you pointing that out. But you know what? That doesn't change how I feel at all. I feel pretty strongly about this one.
Yeah.
I really, but I appreciate it. But that's and usually that would kind of deter me. So take that for what it's worth. Like seeing a stat like that might deter me in another spot, but I feel that this confident about it.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
whatever it's worth, yeah.
Yeah, same.
Which might be nothing, but
and I think I think this 9-3 is like people being slow to react to how good the Chargers are compared to what people thought they were. Because they were such a big disappointment for years under Staley. And yeah, I mean they get a better coach, and like yeah, suddenly they're winning. Sure, like people were very slow to that, but I think now people have caught on, and you saw last week that the Chargers like they were lucky to cover that game. Like Atlanta, like with Cousins throwing those stupid interceptions, like if he just like takes a knee in the red zone, the Falcons cover the spread. So and they got slaughtered by Baltimore. Like I think that like the turntables are starting to turn, to quote Michael Scott. Like, I think that like the Chargers, who like were underrated in the entire year, I think they might be a little overrated right now. And we'll see. And if they get blown out here, maybe they're going to be underrated again.
Yeah. I love the spot.
Yeah,
it really feels right to me. So, what do we got?
There might be a good play. First game is 17-10 Chiefs. Yeah, maybe. I'm not good with totals, but I think that makes sense. Actually have the over here on the site at 26-20. Usually, if there's an extreme result in the total, usually goes the other way in a rematch. But I don't know. What I do for totals is I look to see what the stronger unit is, like for offense and defense. Like for example, if there's like one team in EPA is like 11th in offense and 21st in defense, and like the other team is like about even, then I will take the over, just because like the over is so strong, or the offense is so strong for that one team compared to the defense, and then I consider what the total is. So like if there's an extreme difference and the total is like in the mid 40s, then I definitely go over or under if like it's defense dominating. But if it's already like super high the total, then I like consider how big the difference is. So that's basically how I do totals. And for me this year, it's been, I think I'm like slightly above 500 in totals. I think, I don't know. I'm not like I said, I'm not good with totals. The totals this year, I am 96, 95, and 4. So barely over 500, which is losing because you have to pay the vig, unfortunately.
Yeah. Oh, that sucks, man. I don't do a whole lot of totals, but same thing every time. Every now and then one really sticks out to me, but I don't really mess with it too much either.
Yeah, I don't. Unless it's like crazy weather or something, I don't touch it.
Right.
Chris says I get drafting elite left tackle and all, but I really want to see a dozen years of Herbert to Neighbors. Chargers need a stud X, and he would have been perfect. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that would have made so much sense because they already had a left tackle in Rashawn Slater, so they're taking a right tackle really. Like Neighbors, and Neighbors is such a stud. It's not like if it was Odunze versus Alt, I definitely would have taken Alt. I think Alt was a better prospect than Odunze. But Neighbors, I thought, was at least even or better than Alt. So, yeah, I agree. I think they really blew it there. They got a good player in Alt. They got a good player in Alt. But what did you say?
Yeah. Oh no, I was just agreeing with you. But I didn't even really think about that, like that they would maybe draft Neighbors, because I never thought that they would. But
okay, yeah. Well, I had that in my mock draft, so that was not a correct pick. Right,
sorry.
I
can be a real ass. I can be a real ass digging up old bones of your losses and stuff.
I should have contacted you before I do my final mock draft.
Yeah, I knew it was Alt. Control Alt Delete all the way. They're going to draft Alt.
Right.
Alt
Imagine if
tab.
they drafted Neighbors and McConkey. Yeah, that would have been nice.
Dude, imagine if a guy named Alt Tab and Bo Nix played on the same team, the two shortest names. Well,
Nice.
what do we got? What do we got? One more game here.
Yeah, we got Cincinnati at Dallas. This line is Cincinnati minus 5.5.
Oh, the Bengal Tigers. Okay.
Yes. So it looks like the sharp money on Dallas. At least there was at 6, and not so much at 5.5. But no, I think this is another game where the sharps are on the right side. In fact, I made this line Cincinnati minus 1. So I think this could go either way. And we saw this game 2 years ago. Cincinnati, which had a better team, went into Dallas and won. Or lost to Dallas.
Cooper Rush.
Cooper Rush was playing. That was actually Cooper Rush's first start. Cincinnati's defense is the worst in the NFL. Ranked 32nd in EPA. They can't stop anyone. Russell Wilson threw for 414 against them. So I don't like Cooper Rush, but he's okay enough to have a good game against the Bengals. CeeDee Lamb's going to play. And then you look at Dallas' defense. Micah Parsons, when he's on the field, I looked at games in which only Parsons played, and Dallas is third in defense. Whereas they've struggled otherwise. So I like Dallas here quite a bit. It's on my contest card. What do you think about this game?
I really like the Cowboys too. It's so strange. I mean, first off, they're coming off a long week, and then it's strange just watching the post game. Some of their interviews over their last couple wins. They seem motivated. I'm not exactly sure why, but they seem like they've gotten a second win now this season. I guess they're not technically mathematically eliminated, but they're certainly not giving up here. Where I just feel like the Bengals. Geez, I saw this stat somewhere. Like, how many games have they scored like 28 or more and have still lost? Think about both of those games to the Ravens, now one to the Steelers. It's like, geez, this team has just gotten beaten on, and they just can't find a way to win. And it seems like they're capable of doing it, but they're not. And I just think they might go into this thing, I think people will say, "Oh, well, look at all the points they can put up. Surely they'll put up the same amount of points against the terrible Dallas." Like, it just doesn't work like that. And I don't know. I just think that this team is got to feel defeated. This Cincinnati team. I like the Cowboys to keep it close. Maybe win outright. If you want to pelt more vegetables at me, if that's wrong later. But Dallas, I like Dallas a lot. So.
Yeah, you said it. Like, the Cowboys think they have a chance, and I don't know if you heard on the Thanksgiving show on Fox where Jimmy Johnson was talking. He said this like 3 times. He said, "Oh, the Cowboys win this game." He's talking about the Giants. If the Cowboys win this game, then they get Cincinnati, and then they play the Panthers. They could be 7-7 before we know it. Like, he said that 3 times. I feel like he heard that from Jerry Jones. Or maybe Stephen Jones or someone. Like, he heard that from someone high up in Dallas, and like he kept saying it over and over again. And I think that was the main selling point. And really, like, it seems right now that Dallas doesn't have a chance, but like they actually do, because if they do get back to 7-7 with these wins against the Bengals and the Panthers, they're only going to be, or like, even if the Redskins win Week 15, they're going to be 2 back of Washington. But they play Washington again, and if they beat them the second time, they'll have the series sweep. So they'll only need to make 1 game up otherwise against Washington in the other 3 games. So like, they actually do have a chance here. I don't think they're going to get there with Cooper Rush, but still, like, mathematically, they are very much still alive. Whereas like the Bengals, like as you said, they practically got eliminated last week. They could still technically make it, but it's going to be so hard to pass these teams ahead of them. So yeah, I think the Bengals will be deflated, and Dallas is going to try hard. And plus, I don't know why, but they are playing hard for Mike McCarthy. Like, they want McCarthy back. It's like, I would love it, because it's more comedy. You talk about the characters in the NFL. Like, Mike McCarthy is just such a stupid coach. I would love to have him around. I'm sure Eagles and Redskins fans feel the same. But yeah, no, my point is that they are playing hard for this guy, and so I believe that they're going to keep playing hard. And yeah, I mean, Dallas looks great, I think.
Yeah, I like them. I like them a lot. We got a lot of the late games on our card.
Mm-hmm.
All the late games.
We have 1 early game. We have 2. We have 2 4 o'clock games, and then a Sunday night game, a Monday night game.
That's right. Yeah, man. I like when you can spread it out a little bit.
Yeah,
But then it gets. I still can't believe what a wild week we had for the viewers at home on our card. We went 5-0 on our card, and all. I mean, literally, like every game was like a sweat of some kind.
yeah,
I mean,
especially that last one.
yeah, okay, like Patriots +3 that came through.
Yeah,
That came down to a last second 2-point conversion. The Colts won.
Mhm.
The Rams, we were sweating that out if they're going to cover. What were they, 5.5 or 4?
No, they were -3.
Oh, okay, yeah. So we were sweating that one out. The Jaguars, we were sweating that one out.
Yeah, I gave up on that one, honestly. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
we lost this one, but yeah, they came back.
I kind of did too, but that worked out. That worked out great. And then what's the other game on Denver? What was the fifth one? I can't even remember what our picks were.
I will look it up, but yeah, I mean, you're right. Like it was a sweat the entire time, especially that Denver game. Like it was felt like 5 years got shaved off my life.
Yeah.
So the fifth game was not a sweat. It was Redskins -5.5.
Oh,
That's right.
That's right. Because I was like, what was the other one? We had four out of 5 of them we had to sweat, but hey, that's good. Maybe the tides are turning a little bit. I feel like we've really gotten hosed, as what handicapper hasn't, right?
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
like we've gotten a lot of bad luck, so it's good to be on like the receiving end of some better fortune there.
Yeah.
Sometimes that really makes the difference.
Yeah, so saying the Bills was a sweat. No, well, I had that on my card. We didn't have that on our combined card.
Yeah.
Our combined card in the Super Contest. If you want to follow along, we're Holmes Hall Heroes, which was we went. That's where we met. We lived at Holmes Hall at Penn State.
That's right.
So we had Redskins -5.5, Patriots +3, Jaguars +5, Rams -3, and Broncos -5.5 on our card. It was actually the same card I had, except for instead of Jaguars, I had the
Bills.
I had the Bills. So yeah. So I had a slightly lesser sweat. That game wasn't a very easy one.
Yeah, holy cow. That was wild, because I really thought, like, I mean, we could so easily have been 1-4. Like it's wild how that works.
Yeah, I mean, this is a 3-week mini contest. We're 5-0. It's a good prize for the top 3, and like we are in the 9-week mini contest, or it's a quote unquote mini contest. We are 15. What are we? I forget where we are exactly. But we're like 2.5 games out of first place. So we have a chance. I think we're 14-6-1. I think, or no, 14-6. Does that sound right?
Yeah, we've only lost 3 games two games in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, 14-5-1. We're 14-5-1 in the 9 week. So starting week 10 through 18. It is a good prize. It's 75 grand to first, which would be awesome. But we're currently tied for 37th. But yeah, like I said, the first place is 17-2-1. Fifth, and they play 5 places. So fifth place is 16-3-1. So we are only 2 games back of fifth place. So if we have a good run here, we could have some success. So
yeah, that would be. What is it, like 75, 50, and 25, right?
For the 9 week, or what are you saying? Because like the 3 week pays 25 grand, the 6 week pays 50.
Yeah,
and the 9 week pays 75. But the 9 week pays out 5 places. I don't know if fifth place gets, might be like 3 grand or so, or 2 grand. I forget. But
right. I got you.
It's I forget what it is. It's on the website. But yeah, hopefully, we get there. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, well, one week at a time here. I mean, I'll tell you what, if we can go 4-1 or 5-0, especially if we find a way to go 5-0 here,
yeah,
it's going to get pretty exciting. It's going to get pretty exciting.
Next week will be very tense.
Yeah, I'll say that too. Yeah, we're going to be talking a lot more.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh man! So.
All right, let's close out with some comments here. John says, "I'm desperate in fantasy. I have to choose between Geno Smith, Will Levis, and Cooper Rush."
Oh, take Cooper Rush, baby. All day. Take Cooper Rush.
I put Cooper Rush in my showdown lineup on DraftKings.
Yeah, you've gotta, man.
Yeah,
You absolutely have to. And you don't have a choice.
Okay.
I've lost my
Cammy Goo
mind.
says rush over 250 and 2 touchdowns with a doodle anytime touchdown is plus 525. Um, it's tough because if Rush is throwing 2 touchdowns, it's probably not to doodle. Like it could be, but probably not. So you need 3 touchdowns for Dallas, which is, I don't know. Plus 525 seems okay. It's not a great one though. I don't know. It doesn't seem terrible. What do you think? Before we get to the second part of this question, what do you think about that prop?
I mean, it could happen, but that is, yeah. I mean, it's going to have to go a certain way. I mean, unless Doodle catches one, like he said. I mean, it could happen, but I feel like I would want a lot more than plus 525, but it could
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah. All right. So also, well, aren't the Rams better than Chicago? The Rams are 3-point dogs in San Francisco. Rams and Bills plus 9 on a teaser. Oh, that's on Thursday night. Yeah, the Rams play. I don't know if you wanted to touch on this game briefly because we won't get to this game next week because this game's on Thursday. It's the Rams at the 49ers. The 49ers are -3. It's a short week for San Francisco, so they may not have Nick Bosa and Trent Williams back again. Whereas if this were a Sunday, they'd have a better chance. It's hard to say though. For me, I think I would take the Rams. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I see what Cammy can look saying. Yeah, I think the Rams are better than the Bears. So yeah, I would like the Rams plus 3 on the advanced line. Now that may not last if the Niners lose and the Rams. The Rams will probably lose too. But on the off chance that the Rams beat the Bills and the Niners win, like this line will be like -1 or pick them. But I don't think that'll happen. I don't think the Rams will beat the Bills. So I think -3 might stay. Might be -2.5 if the Niners lose to the Bears. But so I think I'd be more likely to bet this now than I would later. But I'm not sure if I like it. Actually, I know I do like it enough. I think I may bet this early. I'm not sure. I'll think about it. But yeah, so he's saying Rams and Bills +9 on a teaser. The Bills play the Lions, so we'll obviously talk about that game next week. That looks good to me. I think, yeah, I think that Bills and Rams +9 each. I think that's pretty decent. What do you think?
I love it. Give it to me. I like it much better than the first one there.
Okay, nice. All right. So AI says didn't have time to watch the show today live, but what would you say are your 2 favorite picks this week? I think I would say Miami and Chicago.
I love the Chiefs.
Yeah, Chiefs are in my top 4 for sure. They're probably there are 3 or 4. I'm not sure which one's 3 or 4. Probably 4 for me, but they could be 3. They could be 3 by kickoff. We'll see. But no, yeah, no. So yeah, Bears, Dolphins for me. So you like the Chiefs? And what's your? Do you have a second favorite pick, or is it just like?
Geez. I guess I'll go with Dallas. I really like them as well.
Actually, you know what? I like Dallas is my third. So Chiefs might be 4th or 5th. Actually, now that I think about it, yeah. All right. So Sue says Penn State now 13-1 to win it all. You 2 alums better pool your money. Put on your Paterno glasses. Take a shot.
No way, man.
I don't think I've met a Penn State alum who doesn't like Penn State football as much as you do. I don't think you like them at all.
Well, I'm technically I mean, because I never graduated from there. I graduated from UCF. But
Okay.
I think technically, like anyone, like even if you go there for a semester and drop out, I swear I read somewhere, like if you go to a college for a semester, drop out, you're technically an alumni.
Yeah, that's true.
So I guess I am. Yeah. So by definition, that would be correct, Slew. Yeah. I don't want him to win. But you know what? Then I guess I could protect myself. Maybe before the season, every year I would just bet Penn State to win the national championship, and then like that way, if it happens, it'll be a Band-Aid for the gaping wound in my chest. It'll make it a little bit better.
Nice. It's like the opposite of my friend used to do. Like whenever the Flyers, he's a big Philly fan, so whenever the Flyers would be in the NHL playoffs, he would bet against them. So if they won, he'd be happy. If they lost, he'd make money. And knowing the Flyers, they usually would lose, so he actually made a decent amount off of that.
Yeah.
That scheme. So
yeah, I've done that before. But I mean, some people frown upon my ways, but you bet against your team in the playoffs. It's like that. Then like you get either your team's going to win or you're going to get some money.
Yeah. Yeah.
For some people, it eases the pain. It depends on the situation, but
it's like
I do it sometimes.
It's like almost hedging in the stock market, almost.
Yeah. I've bet against the Packers in playoff games plenty of times, and I've won.
Yeah.
You know, like I know how they are. I know how they are.
Yeah.
And the Penguins too. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think they're gonna win. Could be wrong. I mean, they have a good team for sure. Like they gave Oregon a tough fight tonight. I think Oregon's gonna win it all, but it's tough to say. Anyway, and Eagles, yes. I hope the Eagles win. Like I said, I have them in a four team 13-point teaser. So I need them to win just need them to win. It's -0.5. So tie loses it for me. So
yeah, that's right, Mike.
Emotional versus monetary hedge.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You know, it just helps bring it at least closer, you know, to balancing things out, at least for me sometimes. So
yeah. And by the way, to close this out, you said you were right that if you went to a school for like half a semester, even you're still an alumnus of it or alumni or whatever.
Yeah.
I know this is true because Bill Cosby is is the most famous alumnus of my high school. And the thing is, like, he dropped out after like 2 years, but they still called him like a proud alumnus before they knew what he did.
Oh no!
and now it's so funny because before all that dropped, like he was like, "Oh, Bill Cosby went here. Yeah, he dropped out, but that's okay. He's still a great alumnus." Like now, if anyone talks about it, it's like Bill Cosby's not alumnus. He dropped out.
He dropped out. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, man.
Funny how things change, right?
Yeah, seriously.
All right, all right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. And yeah, so we'll be back all next week. Looking forward to Tuesday's episode with Evan, and then as usual, Tom on Saturday, Kenny Wednesday, and then Andy on Thursday. So really looking forward to it. So please like, subscribe, comment below, share this video, visit the link in the description for the merch store. All that would be helpful. And like I said, 25% off the gear in the merch store. So check that out. We'll be having new stuff soon. I haven't made anything yet, but I have some plans in my head for it. So Tom, do you want to plug anything? Maybe your Twitch channel. You are you are multi-Rocket League silver tournament champion, or I think platinum, right?
Yeah. I even won a platinum tournament. Devil Without a Cause. I'm going platinum. Remember Kid Rock song? That's me right now on Rocket League, man. No, you know, I haven't been on there in a while. I know I say this every freaking week. When's he gonna say something different? I don't know. I'm just but you know, you can follow me on Twitter, same handle. And I appreciate you guys coming and hanging with us. It's a highlight of my week every Saturday night. So thanks for having me, Walt.
Yeah, no, I look forward to it too. It's always a blast to be on here with you guys. All right, guys, good luck with all your bets tomorrow. Hope we win everything. That'd be awesome. And yeah, like I said, we'll be back on Tuesday, and we'll talk to you then.
All right.